All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Daily Roundup webinar. Hold on, I'm getting everybody engaged over here. We're sorry, running just a smidge late. The we were just having some conversations about this AMC stock, which it seems to be halted right now. Look at this crazy short squeeze. And North Hero, he had just mentioned, and I have to echo his sentiments here. When GameStop originally did a short squeeze like this, it crushed some funds, right? Then it caused them to sell their positions, which created a little bit of risk aversion, which we could end up getting something similar. I mean, you know, I was sitting there just looking at AMC. And by the way, I was going to do a little bit of research today about AMC, if it's the holding company for, and AMC Entertainment is also a holding company for a cinema company, also the, AMC network, which would be, AMC is coming off pretty hard now. So they just open it up. Hold on one second. So you can see it's open again. So yeah, anyway, it's just one of those things that, as it continues to run up like this, will it have any kind of ripple effects in the market? What we are seeing is we're seeing a little bit of a move, like in the S&P starting to move lower. You can see it right here. NASDAQ's obviously moving a little lower too. So is the Dow. So will it create any type of risk aversion? I'm not sure. I'm not seeing any response really in FX. I mean, you look at currency, like the first thing I'm going to look at when I think about risk aversion, I'm going to look at the dollar MEX. I'll look at the Rand. I mean, look at the Rand. The Rand's gotten just absolutely, dollar Rand got smoked today, which this is the exact opposite you would see in risk aversion. So if you guys are looking at this, unless you start to see a bounce in the dollar MEX, unless you start to see a bounce in the dollar South African Rand, Lira is kind of doing its own thing. But unless you see something like that, and look at the Aussie. I mean, the Aussie's still well bid. You want to see these commodity currencies kind of roll over and emerging market currencies roll over. And if that's the case, then stocks might actually come down. But I would assume they're probably going to bounce soon. So if you are watching equities at this moment and you have the S&P, you can probably be looking for a bounce somewhere down around 4,200, I'm assuming. I mean, let's think about this for a second. We've been at 4,200 really for the last week. I mean, if you think about it, we've been outside of the 4,200 range, which is around here, above and beyond, or above and below the 4,200 range, not that much. So because of that, you want to just keep in mind that the markets really aren't going anywhere. We're just consolidating gains, but I wouldn't get too bearish at this moment, equities or anything like that. Excuse me one second. Sorry, I had to sneeze. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not showing my video this morning or today because I still haven't had a chance to go get ready for the day, because my son's been yammering at me. The markets have been moving a little bit, so it's like I haven't even had a chance to go get ready for the day. Let's take a look at what's happening with everything else though. Euro's consolidating. If you picked up the euro earlier this morning, like the 121, like when I covered the shorts at 2170, we're back up here at 122. I'm a seller, probably above this resistance is what I'm thinking. I was going to sell right here around the 122.20, which I told the chat room earlier comments I was going to sell up here, but I'm actually going to hold off. I'm going to hold off until we get up towards triangle resistance, which will be 122.40. I'm going to sell up here or somewhere in this neighborhood. I'm looking to play inside of this triangle if possible. Okay. So that's what I'm looking to do there. The cable, got to bounce like this is a a little bounce, false breakout here. That may risk a move back below 141 eventually, but currently we are bouncing back. 618 retracement is probably just a little bit higher than where we're at right now. Yeah, at the 142 level, that's probably a better place to be on the short side of the cable if you want to play that. Like, playing the euro on the short side up here at 122.40, playing the sterling short probably up here around 142 makes more sense. Aussie, range bound, Kiwi in the middle of the wedge. Nothing's changed there. Dollar Canadian. I bought some dollar Canadian at 120.61 this morning. I'm trying to play a little bit of I'm going to add on the way down. The thing is it's not really bouncing either. It's I'm looking at these fib levels. Picked some up just ahead of this 38% retracement. I want to buy a little bit more down at these levels to play it on the long side. That's what I'm thinking with the dollar Canadian. We're first of all hovering around the 50% retracement. So we'll see if we can dip back down towards these supports, right? Because ultimately I'd like to be long for a bounce back above 121. That's what I'm thinking here. Nitish in the chat room actually pointed out something good that we stalled at the 618 retracement, that bounce. That makes sense. Let's see. US dollar, Norwegian krona, really not doing much. Like I said, dollar MEX, dollar rand, those are all heavy. US dollar, Japanese yen consolidating, and I think all eyes right now are on what's happening in AMC. That's where everybody's eyes are at. I do want to point out Bitcoin though really quick. Bitcoin is up at resistance. I think this is pretty key resistance. Now, if you are thinking long, just realize that we are in this pennant. The 200-day moving average comes in around 41,000. That's going to be really critical resistance for anybody who's bearish. But what might happen here? We might see a quick move up and then move down like that. I think that's possible. I'm not sure if we're going to get it, but if you're looking to sell Bitcoin, trying to sell it at the 200-day moving average makes sense if we break this triangle here. That's pretty much it. Copper is a little weaker. But again, I'm not other than just kind of playing the ranges. I think that's what we have to do today. So some of your questions have come in. Jason writes in, Blake, this is a gamma squeeze. Check out the out of the money options. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, maybe. Carol said, I came on to tell you your son to take some profits, Blake. You know what's funny? Okay, so I was telling everybody in the chat room. You want to hear something funny? I'm gonna tell you guys a personal story. So last night, GameStop was trading at 40, and I said, and he like after hours, and he's like, Dad, what should I do? And I'm like, well, hey man, take some profits, book some profits. You'll sleep good tonight, and then reassess in the morning. He's like, well, why should I listen to you? I lost money because of you. I'm like, what? Say again? He goes, well, I bought Dogecoin, and then Dogecoin went up, and he did get out, made some money. I told him, gave him the same suggestion, take some profits. But of course, a week later it's higher. So he's like, it's my fault, not his fault. So the point I'm trying to make here is, and he bought AMC again today, just so you know, he bought it at like sub 40. He sold it at 40, bought it at sub 40, and he's sitting in it right now. I don't know where it's at right at this moment. But when he said that to me last night, I said, okay, whatever you say, buddy, it's your thing. What I told him though last night, he goes, Dad, I was just kidding. And I'm like, I'm trying to teach him lessons in trading, right? The lessons in trading is it's always your trade. It's not anybody else's trade. Can't blame anybody else, no matter what. teach them another factoid about trading is booking profits is always a good thing. You'll never go broke taking profits. You got a profit, book it, great. But sometimes you've got to learn from your own mistakes. And he's a young kid. He's a young kid trading his mom and dad's Robinhood account. So, and it's not like an exorbitant amount of money either. So yeah, it's kind of, it's crazy, but he's long right now. At least he was, and until it halted. So it's interesting. It's fun watching like a young person really take on, these ideas. The problem is he is 14 and I want him to be a kid too. You know what I mean? There's one thing about being into trading and all that stuff, but also there's another thing about being a kid. And I'm sure each of you, especially if you're a parent, could probably appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so going back to the markets are really, other than AMC, the markets are really, really quiet here. And we're just consolidating. And I think you got to be playing the ranges. You got to just be looking at the ranges. We get to range high, range low, look to play it. Craig was long some gold. So I want to talk a little bit about gold really fast because I didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier too much. We have the 618 retracement. I know Dorkin actually earlier was asking about scalping short the gold when it was trading at 1907 and it dropped back to 1901, which is great. I do think that we're probably going to be range bound going into the 618 retracement. So we might hit new highs. We could, but I think it's going to look more like this than anything. If I had to guess, like we, just kind of moving up in this channel. But once we get up to the longer term 618 retracement, I think you got to be really, really careful, especially with all the divergent relative strength and everything else. Silver though acted really well, and silver has actually bounced back right to 28 bucks. This is a level that we talked about this morning. I think. Let's go back over to the bias chart. We talked. Oh, I guess 28.50. Should be all the way up here. So maybe it does make it up there too. Other than that, guys, Lorraine asked about the Aussie New Zealand. Yeah, I'm actually trading in the Aussie New Zealand, the one currency pair that has very little volatility. The Aussie New Zealand, we're pushing right up to the upper end of the what I think is resistance zone. A lot of previous support up here, 107.10. I've got to believe it can make it all the way up to 107.25, 107.30 potentially. So keep that in mind if you're playing into this. I personally think that, and this is a trade that I've been waiting for, right? Look at this longer term. 2020, breakdown. And to back up to the underside of the trend line is not uncommon. It's very common, right? So I'm going to leave it at that. You guys have a great one. And thank you all for tuning in. I will talk to you guys soon. I'm going to actually go get ready for the day. So you guys have a great one. Bye-bye. See you, Alex, and see everybody else.